This is an unusual post for me. I wanted to come on here because I think there's some folks who are wondering, why are you posting almost exclusively about the Palestine situation? Or even if those who haven't expressed that are just hoping that it will go away. And so I just wanted to come on here and reflect a little bit about the moment we're in. The first thing is that this is the reality on the ground, that thousands upon thousands of people are being slaughtered. Their homes being destroyed. Thousands upon thousands are still buried in the rubble. And thousands upon thousands are facing starvation. And upwards of 1 million or 2 million people are displaced from their homes. All at the receiving end of a right-wing Israeli government. And this brings me to my second point. With the full, unconditional support of the United States government. And when I say full, I mean financial, military, political, moral cover. If you weren't aware, on Friday, the United States used its veto power to override the will of the overwhelmingly international consensus that a ceasefire needs to take place and all hostages released and humanitarian aid to flow freely. And the United States, the government that supposedly represents the people of the United States, who are, by the way, are the majority of which are calling for a ceasefire. I think it's something around 60 or 70%. And meanwhile, somewhere around 10 or 11% of congressional representatives have signed on to a ceasefire resolution. So it's clear we're not in a democratic moment right now. And so that second point is that as a citizen of this regime, the United States, I feel that I have a responsibility in whatever small power that I have to try to affect and shape change to stop the killing as a first immediate and urgent step. And the third thing I want to say has to do with something a little less tangible, which is what this moment means for shape-shifting the world order that we're in. The vast majority of the people in the world are caring people, compassionate people, people who want to live regular lives. They are seeing what Israel is doing, and they are seeing what the United States is doing in full enthusiastic support of it. And that international community is saying no. And by the way, when you're on the mainstream network news and they use the word international community, they're using it in a very, very skewed way. And what they typically mean, the talking heads, is they usually mean the elite of the United States and the elite of the UK and the elite of the capitalist class and the European politicians. But for those of the rest of us normal people, the international community are regular people um, who don't want war, who don't want genocide. And so I think that's really important to reframe when we talk about international community, when we talk about solidarity. That being said, we're in a moment where what we do matters, how we are showing up, how willing and able we are to feel. And I pause there because that's what the overall culture does not want or allow us to do, is to slow down and actually feel, because it's from that touch point, landing there, is where everything else can flow from. And what we're seeing now is a vast linking up of people from around the world who aren't buying the old stories anymore. And there's a lot of questioning that's happening around what the West, generically speaking, but since I'm from the United States, what does the United States actually stand for? And I don't know if any of us know what the coming weeks, coming months, coming years are going to play out. But in the short term, we know that the killing must stop. And in the long term, we have to consider the question of what are the conditions in which real safety, real peace for everyone can happen, can be realized. Not for this group of people, not for that group of people. Within the darkness, within the intensity of things playing out, there is the invitation, I think, among many, one of the big invitations is the question of what does safety look like? What does true belonging look like? What does true peace look like? What do they feel like? And how can we arrange our social systems, our political systems, to gesture towards and support those things for everyone? And so, coming back full circle, the reason why I am posting almost exclusively on this is because I think this moment is a portal into a new arrangement, a new way of being. And I want to be there. I want to help shape that. And I hope you do too. So anyway, just some morning thoughts on this global day of strike for Palestine. Keep doing the things. Start where you are. Do what you can.